When I made my opening statement to you on the 11th of October 2022, I said that although the underlying subject matter of the inquiry was information technology, the inquiry was not and would not become a dry technical investigation into an IT project gone wrong. That was because it would be an inquiry that was actually about people whose mental and physical health had been impacted, about people whose marriages and partnerships had deteriorated and failed, about people who thought about taking their own lives, and in some cases, who took their own lives. I hope that we as your team have fulfilled the promise that I made at the start of the inquiry to you, not to lose sight of the fact that the inquiry was not to be one into a computer system, but rather an investigation into the harm caused by people to people.
The greatest horrors of the world, man's cruelty to man, are not caused by monsters, malfunctions, or misfortune, but by those who claim to act in the name of good, enforcing a perverted vision of order that leaves no room for dissent. Cruelty has a human heart. The truth is that this tragedy, as Mr. Beer has said, is not about an IT system. Horizon did not destroy the innocent. The malignant culture of the post office did. The post office's inveterate contempt for the sub-postmasters, its corrosive prejudice against them, its desire for absolute control over them was the incubator for these terrible events. The seeds of this tragedy lie in the misappropriation of Horizon as a weapon of domination. Voltaire's words come to mind. Those who can make you believe absurdities would have you commit atrocities. The absurdity was the belief that cascaded from the top down, from the board and the executive to the auditors and the investigators, that Horizon was incapable of generating shortfall errors. It was infallible. There were no bugs. And when they were caught in that lie, they used this mantra instead. It was robust, with a few minuscule exceptions or anomalies. The sub-postmasters' plaintive cries for help were dismissed. They were stigmatized as troublemakers, incompetents, or dishonest. And they were then isolated and silenced with a lie. It's you. It's only you. You're the only one complaining about a problem. There's nothing wrong with the system. Such heartlessness came from the top. They did not listen because Horizon was not rolled out to make balancing easier for the sub-postmasters, but as a means to annex their accounts, deprive them of all autonomy, and to exert a degree of totalitarian control. It was as if Horizon was its faithful spy for the post office at every branch and every counter, reporting accurately everything back to HQ. The atrocities that followed were the inevitable consequence of enforcing that dogma. People were ruined. People were bankrupted. People were imprisoned. There were atrocious miscarriages of justice. People died. Whether the board and the executive knew of these injustices from the start is an irrelevant diversion. They ought to have known or appreciated that by refusing to countenance the possibility that Horizon might generate shortfall errors, they had created a terrible risk. It was a recipe for certain disaster. Paula Vennells piously professed her disagreement with the instinct of her predecessor, Alan Cook, when he said that subbies with their hands in the till choose to blame the technology when they're found short of cash. But in 2014, Miss Vennells was to write disdainfully, despite, because of course, sir, it was 2014, despite all she then knew, that she was more bored than outraged by the sub-postmaster's complaints.